Hello, everyone. It's great to be here. Imagine a world where your code is perfectly understandable. Imagine a world where concurrency is a piece of cake. Imagine a world where testing is a breeze. Well, I don't know if such a world exists, but we can get close. Let's go on a journey to the world of functional programming. Functional programming is one of the ways of writing software, and just like object-oriented and procedural, it has its own rules and patterns. And no matter what programming approaches and technologies you're using, learning functional programming is a great way to grow as an engineer. On our journey, we're going to have some fun, and we'll bring back treasures that will help our teams become better engineers in our everyday work. When I first went there, it was quite weird. It's my first day at the university, and unsuspecting, I go to a programming class, and the rules, no mutable variables, no loops. I'm like, how can I even build anything this way? And turns out they put me in a functional programming class. So it was quite weird in the beginning, but once I got the idea, it became a lot of fun. And since then, I've done functional programming a lot, and it has changed the way I think about software. So I've brought them up for us. As you can see, we have 3 places to visit and 3 treasures to discover today. Are you ready? OK, great. Let's go. So we start by landing on the Immutability Island. The rule at the core of functional programming is that there is no mutable state and that functions have no side effects. For example, imagine you want to insert a value into a dictionary. In the imperative way, you would have an update function that replaces that value. Now, in the functional way, we cannot modify the dictionary. So instead, our update function returns a new dictionary that contains this value. It leaves the original dictionary intact. And using only immutable data makes you design your programs differently. You kind of have data flow through the application only in one direction. Also, in the functional way, a function has no side effects. For a given argument, it always returns the same result. It does not talk to the outside world. It does not rely on hidden inputs. It does not do anything more than it seems to. So what does life look like on the Immutability Island? Easier. First of all, code is easier to reason about. You just know that function cannot do certain things, and the flow of data is simplified. And this means less details to hold in your head. Code is easier to test, because when you have side effects, to test a method, you need to simulate and verify all the side effects. And when they are gone, it's just a matter of verifying that if input is this, the output is that. And code is easier to parallelize. Since there is no shared mutable state, there can be no race conditions. So we don't have to worry about them. All the communication is explicit. So what treasures can we take with us back home from the Immutability Island? Well, we become to appreciate the benefits of immutability and lack of side effects. Even if you write small parts of your programs like that, you can already get and feel the benefits. Just as React applied immutability to simplify the most complex part of building front ends, we can bring benefits of immutability and lack of side effects to crucial parts of our programs. All right, moving on. Second place, we come to the declarative desert. You see, the nature of functional programming is declarative. We define what to accomplish instead of how to accomplish it exactly. We build solutions by decomposing the whole problem into smaller sub-problems instead of defining steps and recipes to change our world in a certain way. So what's it like on the declarative desert? Code becomes easier to understand. You don't need to replay all the steps written in code in your head to understand what the code does. Also, the control flow is not hard-coded. It's not mixed with the logic. So it's the compiler that decides the control flow. And this allows for powerful optimizations. And also, you just have to decompose problems really well. And this gives great reusability and composability of components. So what treasures can we take with us back home from the declarative desert? Well, designing around what and hiding the implementation's details of how something is done is a good practice in general. And functional programming is a fantastic practice of that. We learn to decompose better. We become used to expressing the desired outcome of our code. Our solutions become more reusable, more extendable, and easier to understand. OK, so are you ready for the third place to visit? Yeah. Great. So it's the perspective peak. Writing programs in a functional way is simply very much different. And because of that, it gives you a new way of thinking about programming. So what's it like on the perspective peak? There's a number of things that you just do differently. For example, functions are first-class citizens, and you often pass them as an argument to another function or return them as a result. And also, you generally have different way of doing even simple things. Like you don't have loops. Instead, you use recursion or functions like map and fold. And also, there's a number of more advanced concepts that are very powerful, very interesting, and very deep. And you don't need them to start and succeed, but once you're ready to learn them, they can give you even a broader perspective. So what treasures can we take with us from the perspective peak? Well, it's like traveling to different countries or continents, or like traveling to countryside. You don't need to bring back anything specific with you to feel that it was worth it. Every now and then, I like to travel to a village my grandparents live in, and I meet their amazing people with completely different world and priorities. And I come back with a refreshed perspective, with distance, and with new ideas how to approach my day-to-day problems. And there are countless examples of this functional perspective inspiring successful projects, like React, we already mentioned, or distributed processing frameworks, MapReduce, and Spark. We often invest time into learning new frameworks and technologies, and that's great. But at some point, it's just that frameworks come and go. They're replaced by new ones that are sometimes better, and learning a new way of thinking will never get outdated. All right, so this was the third place on our map. And on our way back home, there's one more question to answer. How to encourage developers on our teams to explore functional programming? Well, first of all, most developers love learning new, exciting things. So just share the idea and give them space to try it out. Second, talk about points that are most relevant to their current level of experience, to the problems they are now facing. Like, is it for them safety? Is it concurrency? Is it readability? Is it testing? And third, set the expectations right so that they don't get discouraged. This is not the same as learning just another programming language, so they might feel like beginners for a while before things click. And finally, share good learning resources. I have posted this presentation on Twitter, so you don't need to read this now. You can look this up later, but here's a couple I can recommend. All right, so welcome back to London. So let's see what we've brought back from our journey. From the Immutability Island, we've brought the benefits of immutability and lack of side effects. From the Declarative Desert, we've brought designing around what and not how. And from the Perspective Peak, we've brought a new way of thinking about programming. If you want your teams to discover these treasures, take them on a journey to the world of functional programming. Thank you.